I've lived in Africa my whole life, and it's definitely not like what is shown on TV where people are hunting animals in their undies. Africa is just like the rest of the world, okay? We're not stuck in the Stone Age, we have modern technology just like you guys, and we have some of the most beautiful modern cities and neighborhoods you'll ever see. Alongside that, we obviously have the more rural and traditional villages, and that's what I'm gonna talk about in this video. What is it like really living in rural Africa? What are the good parts, the bad parts? And what do people get absolutely wrong about it? Number 1. Everyone lives in huts and ride wild animals. This is just not true. Even in the most rural of villages, nobody is living in a cold, wet, and bug-infested straw hut. Most people just live in a normal brick house, or if the area is really poor, live in something called a shack, which is a very cheap to make metal house. As for riding wild animals like giraffes and lions, I genuinely don't know where the stereotype came from. Maybe someone in the comments can tell me, because the moment you start thinking about this, it just makes zero sense. I feel like people forget how expensive taking care of a wild animal is, especially on an African budget. In general, it's not even that common to ride animals to get places. Most people just walk or use public transport like a minibus or a keke, which is this tiny three-wheeled car, to get to where they want to go. Number 2. No water. This is technically not true because most rural areas have water, but it's definitely not coming out of the tap. For water, you're either going to your nearest water station or tap, fetching water at a well, buying water sachets on the streets, or if you're really unlucky, going to your nearest unsanitized river to collect your drinking water. I've never experienced that, but if things are that bad, you might have to seriously consider jumping the fence, bro, because you're high-key cooked. A lot of Westerners will look at this and ask, why doesn't the government do something about this? Well, that's because most African governments are corrupt and don't give a rat's behind about developing rural areas, because those areas don't bring in the money that the more established cities bring. And because of that, these areas are usually abandoned and often get worse over time. A great example of this is Mtabalala in my home country of South Africa. They have it so bad that the area has only one public borehole for 11 different villages. Let me just repeat that. One public borehole for 11 different villages. And the thing is, this borehole can only supply water for 2 hours a day before it has to fill up again. Meaning you're most likely going several days without even a lick of water. That's honestly why a lot of Africans have just given up relying on the government. Number 3. Very strict school environment. There are no schools in rural Africa. Only prisons that every child is forced to go to for 8 hours a day. Think of any type of punishment given in a prison, and I bet an African teacher out there has tried it before. Discipline is taken super seriously at these schools. Like a lot of things the West sees as normal or normal experiences would just never happen in these type of schools. Things like vaping and being in a relationship are strictly not allowed. One time a girl and boy were found kissing and were punished by standing in front of the assembly and getting absolutely destroyed by the teachers. The reason they do this is because most of these areas are like very strictly religious, and I don't actually see it as a completely bad thing because compared to the city, it at least stops you from becoming a total degenerate. Number 4. No electricity. Imagine saving up for 3 years on an African salary to get a PlayStation 5 and buy the latest GTA, but not being able to play it when it releases because electricity companies in Africa are some of the most incompetent and corrupt government-funded companies you'll find in the world. No one else can compete. Africa number 1. The reason for this is that most African countries refuse to make better electricity grids and default to using colonial-era grids. Yes, you heard me. Colonial-era grids in big 2025. These grids are so bad that 20% of electricity is lost before it reaches your house, compared to the rest of the world, which loses around 5%. And because they pump out so much more electricity to make up for that loss, the price of electricity goes up like crazy. All this means the already abandoned rural areas get pretty much no electricity and usually have to rely on solar panels or generators. And what didn't help at all was this next problem. Number 5. Boredom. There's pretty much nothing to do in these areas. Unless you have a sibling or relatives nearby, it can be immensely boring. You are literally in the middle of nowhere with a bunch of uncles and aunties. Finding something to fill up the time besides school is a genuine struggle because there's literally nothing. No parks, no scenic walks, no events, no fun place to gather, just dirt streets and one single library which is the size of a closet. Which is why if you had a friend that lived in the city, you would make it your life mission to get permission from your parents to have a holiday long sleepover. But if you didn't perform well on your report card,
there's no way out of this one. You're done.
For the next couple of points, I'll switch things up and we'll just do a quick little lightning round. The weather over here is an absolute mess. There's no seasons over here. It's either summer or a rainy period. The summer over here is so genuinely bad, it just might become my 14th reason. Like, no joke, an average of 28 to 30 degrees Celsius, accompanied by the most disgusting humidity that makes fans absolutely useless because the air itself just becomes hot and thick and gross. The rainy season isn't that bad, but if you have to constantly travel, it sucks because it's always just raining bullets and the streets literally become unusable. Community plays a big part of rural Africa. It's very common to ask your neighbor for any ingredient you don't have, things like eggs, tomatoes, onions, and they'll actually give it to you. And whenever they ask, you'll give them too. It's also pretty safe in these areas because thieves get seriously punished by the community. Like, in some cases, communities will literally burn the thief if they show no sign of change after several offenses. Rural mosquitoes are genuinely a different breed than the ones in the city. Like, they move with 10 times more confidence and 1,000 times more speed. They are so bad that they can literally soar through mosquito nets just to get to you and need way stronger repellent for them to stay away. Many people think that living in a rural area means you're behind or not modern, but that's not true at all. Just because life in the village is different doesn't mean it's worse. In fact, rural life is often simpler, calmer, and more connected to nature. People in rural areas may not have all the tall buildings or the fast internet that the big cities do, but they do have something just as valuable: strong community, fresh food, and a peaceful environment. Neighbors know each other, people share what they have, and families often grow their own food instead of buying everything. In the city, things move fast. Everyone is always busy, traffic is loud, and life can be stressful. But in the rural areas, life slows down a bit. You have time to enjoy the small things, sunsets, conversations, and family. We all are human at the end of the day, and all face our own challenges and struggles. And of course, we can't ignore one of the biggest challenges and struggles right now: rising prices. For more on that topic, watch the video on screen. Follow all my socials. That's all I have to say.